Surprise, surprise, surprise. Yep, you guessed it. I am not Alexandra. Not at all. Seth. Filling in for her. It's Yom Kippur and it's her birthday. So you got to wish her a happy birthday. So she took this evening off so she could celebrate the holiday and her birthday, which is cool. I would have done the same thing. But yeah, it's not her, it's me again. So I will keep it professional. Excuse me. I'll try to keep the cursing to a minimum. I don't want to mess up her thing. But this is Alexandra Levine live. I'm filling in again. I'm Seth Eisenberg. So you're at the right place. Don't panic. Everything's good. I'm just filling in. So I hope you've had a good week because tomorrow's Friday, the weekend, and we get a reprieve, get to breathe a little bit and enjoy life, which will be fun. Better than being at work all day. It's never fun working. Got to hit lotto. I got to start playing lotto. But yeah, I'm here. Going to do her show, talk about some stuff. And then if you have any questions or anything, or you want to say anything, the chat's always open. You can post in there. If you ask a question, I will do my best to answer it. If I don't, please don't take it personally. It's not, I just probably didn't see it or didn't come up on my end. So don't take it personal if I don't respond because it's not personal. Just sometimes technology ain't as grand as it used to be or should be. So yeah, there's that. All right, let's jump right into breaking news that we have. Let's see what we got here. You got the ticker at the bottom. A lot of stuff popped up since I've put this together, since me and Damon put it together. So some things are scrolling at the bottom, like Putin's warning the U.S. not to give Ukraine Tomahawk missiles. And I kind of talk about that in a little bit. Officials conspire with Antifa. That's always great to conspire with rich white kids with too much free time on their hands that are destroying the city. It's always good. Always will end well. Yeah, the FDA okayed a generic form of an abortion drug before the shutdown. Hamas directed the UK anti-Semitic attack, and I'll talk about that a little bit today. I believe it. Trump's given 10 to 14 billion in aid to farmers. They need it. Oh, this is a good one. This makes me feel a lot better about things. Microplastics found in all tested beverages. That's just lovely. That's lovely. And I guess it doesn't matter if you got a 30-year mortgage. If you're sucking down microplastics, you're not going to be around for 30 years. As I drink a Coke. I guess you got to live. Can't live afraid of everything. I know you. I don't know if any of you know who she is. Doctor. I think she's a doctor. Dr. Jane Goodall. She was the one that did all the things with the gorillas and the chimpanzees and stuff like that. Very smart lady. She died at 91, which is sad. Not because she's famous, just because she did some good things while she was here. Tried to protect they're not monkeys, chimpanzees and everything. She tried to protect them from poachers and stuff like that. And 91's a good life. That's not like short term. She had a good long life. Did some good things. So it's a good legacy she leaves behind. And I'm sure, I wonder if the monkeys will know she's gone. Like if she doesn't show up again, like, hey, she's not here anymore. Wonder if that registers with them, if that type of thing clicks, or do they just whatever and go do their chimpanzee things and life carries on for them? I don't know. She would know, but we can't ask her now. And I'm not trying to be a smart ass. I'm being serious. But yeah, she died. She's 91. Did a lot of stuff. A lot of research. A lot of good things came from her, and she'll be missed. Yep. If you haven't figured it out or don't know about it yet, the government is shut down. I know my life has not been affected at all, one bit for 1 minute since it shut down. I don't know if yours is. I heard there might be layoffs and things happening to federal workers. People get fired and laid off every day of the week all around the country, so I don't feel any different pity for the federal workers, other than they're going to get paid as soon as everything opens back up again. They're not going to miss a thing. It's just going to be an inconvenience for a while. So there's that. I hope it stays shut down for a while, just so everybody realizes how unimportant federal employees truly are to your everyday life. And if things shut down, we'll figure a way to get around it because we're smart people. We got a country full of smart people. And again, this is not Trump's. This is the Democrats' fault. They want to give money to pay for illegal immigrants' health insurance. And I don't want my tax dollars going to that. I'd rather my tax dollars go to homeless vets or homeless people in general or the elderly or whatever. But I don't want illegal aliens getting my money for anything. I think that's ridiculous. And that's why they're all upset that Trump won't sign the law because he doesn't want to give them money. And I don't blame him. I don't know when this country or this country's politicians stop caring about the citizens of this country. I don't know when that happened. It's ridiculous. It's even more ridiculous that they're shutting down the government because we won't give them our money. They're politicians. Like I said, they shut down the government. They're probably all hanging out, drinking beers now, talking about it. We are the furthest thing from their mind because they're still getting paid. So what do they care? They don't miss a beat, which is ridiculous. They should suffer more than anybody else when this happens. But that's not how it works. The government doesn't feel the sting, so they don't care what they do. And I've always said that even where I work, if someone does something wrong, but they're not held accountable or feel the pain of their mistake, they will continually make that same mistake because what do they got to lose? It's the same thing with the government. They shut the government down, they still get paid. So what do they really care? They don't care. They're getting paid. They're not missing a beat. They're not like everybody else. Like, oh man, I got laid off or my department shut down. I won't get paid till they start up again. They don't miss a paycheck. And then somehow people will defend their part of they're doing the right thing. It's not about the right thing. It's about they're getting paid. They don't care. So they don't. They could stay. The government shut down for as long as they want. They're still going to get paid. I have a feeling, and I could be wrong. I think that, and I hate to say it out loud because then you jinx it. But I have a feeling that the Republicans are going to fold first. They're going to blink first. I really do. Because a lot of them are rhinos that are just trying to look like they care for the Republican Party. But I think when push comes to shove, I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Democrats blink first. But I'm thinking the rhinos are going to screw the whole thing and they're going to give in first. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, like I said. I just got a feeling in the back of my head that that's what's going to happen. But I guess we'll find out soon enough. Well, maybe. I don't know how long this is going to last, but we'll find out when it ends if I was right or wrong. And again, I hope I'm wrong. So there's a lot more breaking news. Like I said, it's scrolling through the bottom. You can look at that, and we'll talk about some other things during this episode. So there's more coming. I just wanted to get that stuff out of the way. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to headbutt you. So we can get right into segment one, and that we call this On the High Seas. I'm sure you're all aware that Greta Thornburg or whatever her goddamn last name is, because I don't care, got 50 or 60 boats together again to try to break the naval blockade Israel has set up to get to Gaza and bring them aid. I don't know why she thought this time would be any different. There's still a war going on. Israel's not going to let them in, if for no other reason, their own safety. If they're too stupid to realize it's dangerous to be in a war zone, then somebody has to be the adult, and that falls on the Israeli Navy. And apparently they've turned them around or taken people off their ships and are bringing them to a depot, I believe. They're going to have them sent home, just like last time. And Greta Thunberg put out a video that she's been, abducted by the Israeli Navy, and She's afraid. She's a useful idiot. She's a tool. And everybody that went with her are tools. They're not very smart. They're not proving anything other than that they're tools and not very smart tools. It's a war zone. You are not going to be allowed into a war zone. And there she is looking all upset and dejected. And I think that's an Israeli IDF guy next to her trying to give her food or something. And I wouldn't. I'm like, look, you know what? You're dumb enough to come back a second time. We're not feeding you. I'm sure you brought food. Eat some food, drink some water. We're bringing it to shore. You're getting shipped home. End of story. We don't even care anymore. You're an annoyance. You're like a gnat that we just can't swat. You're not changing anything. You're helping terrorists, and you're too stupid to realize it. So don't come back, or we're going to sink your ships. That's what they should be telling them. That's what I think they should. Excuse me. But they won't. And I don't know why. Stupid people shouldn't breed. And this is what happens when they do. And I know she's not a kid anymore, but she's young and doesn't know any better, and I should cut her some slack. And I would have the first time. So this is the second time. She doesn't get slack the second time, really. And apparently I've done some reading of some of the sponsors that they have were from Hamas-controlled businesses. So she's taking money from terrorist organizations to do this. You know what? If you're that stupid, I can't do nothing for you. This lady, the Italian Prime Minister Gloria Meloni, actually urged the flotilla to stop, saying because that could lead to the ending of the peace agreement or the peace talks that were going on while they were ship sailing down there. And of course, Greta Thunberg and her merry band of morons don't care about reality. So they kept on going. Even though the Prime Minister of Italy said, hey, you really need to stop doing this. This could jeopardize any type of peace agreement we could get if you're going down there. So stop. And most normal people would have stopped. Like, hey, she's right. This could jeopardize some things. People could die because of this. Maybe we should turn around and go home. Not Greta Thunberg or whatever her name is. No way. She's not turning around because she wants to help people. She wants to help the terrorists because that's who she's really going to help. Because she thinks for 1 minute any food they bring is actually going to go to the people. She's dumber than a bag of hammers. Nelson Mandela's grandson was apparently there, like that's supposed to mean something. Who gives a shit? His name is Mandela. Yeah, his first name is Mandla, Mandela, something like that. And his last name is Mandela. And several other activists and European lawmakers were aboard the ship. Nearly 50 boats. 50 boats of idiots floating down there to do absolutely nothing but help terrorists and are too stupid to realize it. The Prime Minister of Italy was actually smart enough to realize, hey, you probably should stop. This could cause issues. And once again, Mandela, and Greta Thunberg and all the other morons that went down there apparently know more than she does and didn't listen. And this was fun. Who didn't see? I told you when this first happened that the Italian Navy would back off immediately when they got close enough to Israel. And guess what they did? They backed off when they got to Israel. They don't want any parts of that. They're not going to start a war for these morons. They're not going to get into a gun battle for these schmucks. Why anybody even thought that would happen is beyond me. Italy did the right thing. They scored them through. When they get to the point of no return, you turn around and leave. Like, hey, you're on your own. Our prime minister told you to stop. You don't want to listen to her? That's fine. We're turning around because we are not engaging with the Israeli Navy for you idiots. Not going to happen. Flying past Palestine flags. It's a make-believe country. And they don't even realize that. I mean, there must be something in the water because people are getting dumber every week. It's frightening how dumb people are getting. I'm going to sail down to Gaza in a war zone and deliver food. You have 50 50 yachts, they're calling it. So you figure the biggest one's 60 feet, maybe 65. How much food could they actually be bringing down there? Really? I mean, I think it took a month to get down there. So they need to have their own food. They need to have their own supplies. They got to have fuel because I'm sure they all weren't, sailboats. And then you have to have engine. I mean, there's so many things else they had to bring down. So literally, I mean, really, how much food were they bringing down to give away? I guarantee you probably not even close to a ton. Guarantee it. Unless there's bigger ships I don't know about, they couldn't have been bringing more than a ton. And then Israel even said, hey, look, you can't come to the blockade, but if you go over here, you can bring the food to the Gazans directly, landway. We're not letting you come to, and no, we're not doing that because it's never going to get there. I don't, these people are stupid. I mean, they gave them an out like, hey, you can sail here to this port, offload your supplies, and it'll get to Gaza. We'll make sure it gets there. They don't want to do that because then they can't get their 90-pound heads on the news and people won't be calling them a hero. So that's why they did it. It's not because they don't believe him. It's because they want the glory. And like I've said before, if you're helping somebody and don't tell anyone, that's called charity. If you're helping people but making sure everybody knows that you're doing it, that's called conducting business. They're conducting business. They don't give a shit about the Gazan people. Because if they did, they just said, okay, fine. If we can get the food to them that way, we're going to go there and do that. It's not about the Gazan people. I would be shocked, utterly shocked, if the Israeli Navy boarded these ships, searched for it, and there was no food. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. That would not shock me at all if they didn't find any supplies for the Gazan people. I wouldn't be shocked at all. Or if they did like a couple bags of hot dogs and some chips. I wouldn't be shocked because this is not about helping people. This is about clinging to that 15 minutes of fame that she's had. Thunberg has had, and all the other losers that are with her are trying to get some fame. It's not about helping anybody. Because like I said, if it was, they would have done what they were asked to do or offered to do, but they didn't. And let's be honest. They're helping terrorists. Terrorists. Because the people in Gaza are not getting that food. Like all the money that was sent to them wasn't used for them. Hamas used it to dig tunnels. They didn't give it to these people. Why is anybody thinking it'll be different now? Because people are stupid. These people are stupid. Dumb. Useful idiots, I believe is the term that kind of covers them. Useful idiots. And they are extremely useful. Until they got to the blockade, the Israeli Navy said, nope, turn around. And that's that. End of it. I can guarantee you in another couple of months, they're going to try it again. There'll be more people. And then they'll try it again. And then if the peace agreement is successful and everybody stops, she'll have to find some other way to keep her head in the newspapers because then she can't do it because nobody will care. And I read somewhere that the peace agreement that Trump came up with, that Israel's agreed with, I've read somewhere that the Hamas military leader has said he's not going to agree to it and wants to continue fighting Israel. And if that happens, my question to all you morons that think it's Israel's fault, whose fault is it now? If Israel agreed to it, America agreed to it, most of the other countries in the Middle East agreed to it, thought it was a good peace agreement, but Hamas doesn't. Whose fault is it at that point? Do you still continue to blame the Israelis? At what point does it become their responsibility? At what point does Gaza, the government of Gaza, Hamas, when is it their responsibility? When are they held accountable? At what point? I mean, you didn't hold them accountable on October 7th. That wasn't their fault. You haven't held them accountable since. It's not their fault. They're resistance fighters. It's always been Israel. So I guess my question to the morons out there is, at what point do you say, okay, Israel's actually trying to stop this. Hamas isn't. It's now Hamas's fault. And yes, you should exterminate them as quickly and as efficiently as you possibly can. At what point do people start to say that? How many more people have to die in Israel? How many more rockets do they got to fire? How many times do they have to deny the peace agreements before you idiots believe that it's not Israel? It's Hamas causing all these problems. It's them. I mean, I would say if they turn this one down, I would say, yeah, that's it. Done. It's not Israel's fault. Israel's done everything they possibly could to make things right. And Hamas, once again, is spit in their face and wants to fight Israel because Israel's the great evil and because it's in their charter, Hamas, to eliminate the state of Israel and kill all the Jews. So they've kind of backed themselves into a corner with that. They've kind of got to fight. They have no choice, really. Even though they've been getting their ass kicked solid since this all happened, they want to keep fighting. And these people want to keep supporting them and bringing them things. No, it needs to stop. They need to be accountable. And even if we stop helping everybody, the people that live there will start to fight back and go, look, y'all need to stop doing this. They're kicking our ass. We got no more. They're bombing us every day. You can't stop it. They offered a peace agreement. You need to take it. That's what needs to happen. But as long as they're getting support, what do they care? They'll be dancing in the streets and cursing Israel and America. But yeah, that's what I read, that the military arm of Hamas has said they won't agree to the terms and will continue fighting Israel. It's kind of stupid. It's really kind of stupid. Israel's been whipping your ass this whole time. Why do you want to keep getting your ass whipped? Is it like a fetish thing or something? Do you like it? I don't know. So I guess we'll find out, because I think Trump gave them, 3 or 4 days to respond, and that was like 2 days ago. So their time is drawing near to where they've got to respond. And I'm sure if they respond, they're going to make some ridiculous request or say, we're not going to do this unless this. And they're going to make it to where you can't agree to it, so they can turn back around and say, well, it's not our fault. Israel and the U.S. said no, it's their fault. But we'll find out. Maybe they'll smarten up and figure, hey, we've been getting our butt kicked since October. Maybe it needs to stop. Maybe we need to throw our hands up and go, okay, we surrender. We agree to the peace thing. That's cool. We're going to do what you want us to do. Just stop beating us up. I mean, there's got to come a time when you get tired of getting beat up. I mean, I don't know how much longer they can take. I mean, their country is pretty much a parking lot. What more do they want done to them? I don't understand those people. And maybe we shouldn't understand them. I mean, maybe there's nothing to understand other than they're terrorists. That's all you need to know. And they're proving it now. They're terrorists. And then I've read Israel stepped up their attacks, which is fine by me. Bomb them twice, as far as I'm concerned. Sometimes violence is the answer. And this is that one time when violence is the answer. I mean, you don't invade another country, kill, rape, and murder and rape their citizens, jump back into your country and then go, okay, that's it. We're done. Time out. You don't get to do that. You do that, you need to expect to get your ass beat. Just like if Mexico sent people into Texas and did the same thing in Texas, and then ran back to Mexico and expected everything to be fine. Like, okay, you can't do anything now. We would do the same thing any country in the world would do the same thing Israel's doing. So I'm not, other than anti-Semitism, I don't know why everybody's upset with Israel for fighting back. And then you hear the excuse, well, they're bigger, their response is not measured. Why does it have to be measured? I don't understand that either. And who cares if they're bigger? If you're dumb enough to pick on somebody twice your size, you're going to get hurt. And maybe you'll learn not to do that again. So I'm all for Israel, always have been, always will be. Whatever they think they need to do, let them do it. They're doing the world a favor. Some people don't want to admit that, but they're doing the world a great favor. They're taking out a terrorist organization. Let them do what they got to do. Hell, Biden didn't even want to get our own hostages out of that country. He let the Israelis do it. So we've kind of lost the moral ground on telling them what to do at this point. But who knows? Again, there could be information. Well, there is information we're not privy to, I'm sure. So who knows? Maybe they've agreed to it. I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. But apparently Israel has not backed off on their attacks, and they shouldn't. Until there's an agreement, keep going. More importantly, until they release the hostages, they should keep going. And that's the whole thing people don't understand. If Hamas just released the hostages, this would all be over. Like immediately. It wouldn't take a week. It'd be that day when all the hostages got released and they got back to Israel. That would be it. Done. Israel would back out. It's really that simple. But people don't believe it. Oh, Israel would keep going. I got nothing for you people. That's what you believe. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, we'll talk about some other stuff that upsets me.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did.
So, yep, Alexandra Levine is also a political consultant. Apparently she's good. People hire her. So if you're thinking about running for an office, you probably should reach out and talk to her. And she's also a podcaster here, has 2 shows a week. Like I said, she's usually here tonight, but it's Yom Kippur and it's her birthday. So she's got stuff to do tonight, which is understandable. So tell her happy birthday. I think she's 22 or 23. I can't remember. I think it's 22. So tell her happy 22nd birthday and tell her not to drink too much. That's what I would do. Maybe she doesn't. I would drink too much on my birthday, especially if I was turning 22. I'd be pounding them. That's just me. But yeah, Yom Kippur on her birthday. So if you talk to her, you see her next, tell her happy belated birthday. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. The next segment, everyone has something to say. It's pretty much about people just don't know when to shut up. That just don't understand that what they have to say doesn't mean anything to anybody, or that you really shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. So let's jump right to the first moron that doesn't know when to shut her cake hole. Everybody's favorite Hanoi Jane. I'm sure you all remember her. During the Vietnam War, she went and visited the enemy, had pictures of her taking on anti-aircraft guns that were used to shoot down American pilots. All sorts of things that a traitor would do. And she's back in the news, as you can see, to start a committee for the First Amendment, because she thinks that people aren't allowed to have the First Amendment because of the Jimmy Kimmel BS that everybody thinks the government had something to do with, when in fact it was just, he's not funny. Hasn't been funny for a while. But everybody thinks the government did it. So she's out there spewing her BS about how we need to protect the First Amendment and the government can't be trusted, but we should trust her, who worked against her fellow citizens in the country and got people killed. Make no mistake about it. Was a great propagandist for the Vietnamese. Really did more harm than I think she's smart enough to understand. And people still listen to what she says. Even though, it looks like she's got one foot in the grave and one foot in the banana peel. She still thinks she's relevant. She still thinks she's important. She's not. I haven't met a vet yet that thinks anything about her beyond her being a POS. Literally, they don't have anything good to say about her. I'm pretty sure when she kicks the bucket, a lot of Vietnam vets, are going to celebrate, and they should. For what she did, that's what she deserves. They should celebrate her death. She's not a good person. I wouldn't want her to be the spokesperson for anything that has to do with ethics or the law. She is it's like having Jeffrey Dahmer be the spokesperson for your new restaurant. You just don't want to do that. Why would you do that? She's trash. She is literally trash. And I don't understand why she gets any airtime. Really, who cares what she does? And yeah, I know I've got her up now too, so I'm giving her airtime, but I'm giving her airtime to ridicule her and make fun of her, because she looks like she's had so much work done. She looks phony. Well, maybe she is dead. Maybe she just doesn't know it yet. Maybe her brain hasn't caught on to the fact yet that she's dead. She's just a horrible human being. And anybody who respects her or thinks what she has to say is worth listening to, you're no better than she is. You're a disgusting human being. And if you think I'm lying about what you did, look it up. It's all history. It's out there. It's not hidden. It's not some secret knowledge that you have to search. It's type in Hanoi Jane and have fun. Yeah, she's just a really lousy person. I don't understand how she gets any. Yeah, she makes me sick. And I take her picture off, it's gonna make me vomit. The new Pope, Pope Leo something, says someone who says I'm against abortion but says I'm in favor of the death penalty is not really pro-life. Someone who says that I'm against abortion but I'm in agreement with the inhumane treatment of immigrants in the United States, I don't know if that's pro-life. So, and I would like to add to that, someone who says that they love children but allows pedophiles to remain employed in the church that you represent really doesn't love children. Anything that the Catholic, and if you're Catholic, I apologize, I'm sorry, but anything the Catholic Church has to say about anything is ridiculous. They have pedophiles they have never taken care of, priests that have raped children that they have done nothing about, swept it under the rug, or transferred them to other churches, or paid people off. I don't care what just like Hanoi Jane, I don't care what the Catholic Church has to say about anything. I read it for comic value. What is inhumane treatment? What has the United States done that he considers inhumane? Enforcing a law? Is that inhumane? Sending people back to their country of origin? Is that inhumane? I don't know what he means by inhumane. I truly, truly don't. What I think is inhumane is allowing people to cross a desert where they possibly could die to get into a country where they're not supposed to be, to live on slave wages and barely make it by. I think that's inhumane. I think businesses that hire these people and pay them less than they pay somebody else, I think that's inhumane. I think sending them back where they belong is not inhumane. Because if it's something about war, they can apply for refugee status. They can do that. We're not talking about people who've done that and been denied that. We're talking about people who sneak into the country and then expect everything that you and I as citizens receive, they want to get to. And then when we say no and send them home, this schmuck thinks it's inhumane. The man sits on a throne of lies. Someone should ask him, what about all the pedophiles? What have you done about that? Where's your concern and care about that? Has anybody been fired for doing that? Has anybody been prosecuted for that? What have you done to protect children? Until you've done that, shut your goddamn mouth. Don't say a thing about anything else, because you have no room to talk at all whatsoever. And I don't care if it wasn't on your watch. You know what's happening. Correct it. Correct that mistake now. Start holding people accountable. But they're not. So I don't care what the Catholic Church says. I don't. I really don't. Do I think all Catholics are bad? I don't think people who are Catholics are bad. I think people who are in the priesthood and up, in general, not all of them, in general, are bad people. Especially the ones that have sexually assaulted children, especially the higher ups that know that's going on and has happened and have done nothing about it and then refuse to talk about it. That's who I don't like. That's who I think are disgusting human beings. That's where my problem lies. Especially when this man comes out and condemns other people for doing things while he himself has his backyard needs to be cleaned. But he's out pointing out everybody else's backyard about what they need to do. Dude, you're standing knee deep in trash. Take care of your own house first. That would be my best advice to you. Clean up your own yard before you come into somebody else's and tell them how messy there is. Because you got a lot of trash in your yard, pal. A lot. But nobody tells them this. Nobody says anything to these people. It's like they're afraid to. I'll never understand. Wrong is wrong. Doesn't matter who's saying it. Doesn't matter what mouth it's coming from. Wrong is wrong. Hold on. She's wrong. She's a wrong. She has no business talking about the First Amendment or ethics or the letter of the law. She's a traitor. She got people killed. She needs to shut up, dry up, and blow away. Doesn't make it right because she's Jane Fonda. That's Hanoi Jane. That's who she is. That's who she always will be. A traitor. This is the head of the Catholic Church that has so many problems. So many disgusting human beings work in that church. And he's going to condemn and talk about and preach to other people what they should be doing. Even if he's right, you can't listen to the man. You can't. The church harbors pedophiles for decades. They've allowed it to happen. So he has no room to come out and tell people what they need to do. He can't talk about children until he protects the children in the Catholic Church from the predators that he has working there. He can't say anything. Again, anything he says is a joke. You can't take it seriously. And again, I'm not talking about people who are Catholic that go to Catholic church. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the leadership. They're responsible for what happened, and they've done nothing about it. But they have no problem coming out and preaching to everybody else about what they're doing wrong. And people won't say anything because it's the Pope. I don't care if it's the Pope. He should know better. I don't care. It's ridiculous that these people think they can preach to us from on high while they're knee deep in shit. That's wrong. And it always will be wrong. And it shouldn't matter, like I said, who it's coming from. Wrong is wrong. Hanoi Jane, wrong. The Pope, wrong. It's not his problem specifically, but he's in a leadership position now, and that's what he should be addressing. Not what everybody else is doing and pretending like there's nothing wrong with the Catholic Church. Clean up your own backyard first, pal, before you start talking about other people. That's all I'm saying. And there's nothing inhumane about enforcing the law. We're not like scooping people off the street and beating them up and putting them in dark holes somewhere we're not telling people, and that's where they die. We're arresting people, putting them in detention centers, and sending them home. There's nothing inhumane about that. Well, they're splitting up families. The family can go with them. They've made that very clear. Your family can stay or they can go. It's up to you. All make that decision, but you are going. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no country in the world that doesn't do that. Some are much, much more rough about it than we are. Try going overseas to like Europe or something and go to one of their countries illegally and then start demanding they take care of you. Find out what happens then. Everybody over here crying and complaining. The police are brutal. Have you seen some of the videos out of Germany? Have you seen some of the videos from down south? Talk about brutal police. That's brutal. Have you seen the videos of people in India? Those cops, they just walk up to you and hit you in the face with a stick and keep hitting you when you're on the ground. But American cops are rough. Obviously, you don't get out much if you think American cops are the roughest in the world. You don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, wrong is wrong, no matter who it comes from. And don't just give somebody, okay, they can say it because they're so-and-so. No, tell them they're wrong. Explain to them why they're wrong. I could go on about this for hours too, but I'm not, because I'm not. I've said my piece. You all know how I feel about it. Hanoi Jane, the Pope, whatever. They've got no room to preach to anybody about anything. They've got just as much dirt on their hands as everybody else does. They're not special. And we need to stop acting like they get some pass because of who they are. We'll be right back. Maybe.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
I was going to start again. It's kind of crazy. Again, Alexandra Levine is the White House correspondent for the America's Pulse Network. She is not here this evening because of Yom Kippur. Also, it's her birthday. It's her 22nd birthday. So make sure to wish her a happy birthday when you see her next or next time she's on here. I'm sure she would appreciate it. Also in the APN, you have Damon the Hammer Galdo. He's got 2 podcasts and he has a radio show. And I believe he's running for Congress in Jersey where he lives now, which is very cool. So check him out and his shows. And then you have me on Sundays at, 7 to 8:30. And then we all get together on Wednesday for the Pulse and talk about everything. It's a pretty cool network. And if you're interested in having your own podcast, just go to our website, AmericaPulseNetwork.com. Go to the right-hand corner. You have the three little lines for the menu. Click on that and just follow the guides from there, and you'll be fine. But yeah, great lineup. We have another podcast starting. And I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to get too much into that because I don't know much about it, and I don't want to give you all the wrong description. And you're like, oh, Seth said it was going to be this, and it's not. He's a liar. So I just keep your eye out for it. As we get closer to them, their first show, we will let everybody know. So don't panic. Not that I think you were, but we'll keep you in the know. And again, the chat's open. If you got any questions or want to say anything, it's right there. Just I'll even put something in so you can see it, so you know it's real. I'm doing it now. See, it's real. I will actually see it. I can see what I wrote. It looks like one of the chats is not taking our chat name and has an X by it. One of the rumbles. I'm talking to, not myself, Damon Sherrod, the puppet master. He runs the show. He's the technical expert. I'm just letting him know it looks like one of our chats is not going through. And I don't know which one it is. It just says rumble with a red X. That's all I know. So I don't know if anybody, well, I'm not sure. I'm sure you all heard Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, and Donald Trump brought together a lot of the generals, admirals, and high-ranking military officers to Quantico, and they had, I don't want to call it a rally, more of an information session would be the best way to describe it, where Pete Hegseth laid down the law and said, this is how things are going to be moving forward, X, Y, and Z. This is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. Let's show you a little bit of that so you know what I'm talking about, and then I'll get down into it.
To ensure peace, we must prepare for war. From this moment forward, the only mission of the newly restored Department of War is this: war fighting, preparing for war and preparing to win.
And some people hear that and they get shocked. I mean, I don't know what they think the military's for. It's there to kill people, the enemy specifically, but that's what their job is. So when he said that, people were shocked.
Unrelenting and uncompromising in that pursuit. Thus, the only people who actually deserve peace are those who are willing to wage war to defend it. That's why pacifism is so naive and dangerous. It ignores human nature and it ignores human history. Either you protect your people and your sovereignty, or you will be subservient to something or someone.
Yep.
It's a truth as old as time. To our enemies, F-A-F-O.
Foxtrot Alpha, Foxtrot Oscar.
If necessary, our troops can translate that for you. The military has been forced by foolish and reckless politicians to focus on the wrong things. In many ways, this speech is about fixing decades of decay. Some of it obvious, some of it hidden. Or as the chairman has put it, we are clearing out the debris, removing the distractions, clearing the way for leaders to be leaders. You might say we're ending the war on warriors.
Nothing there should be earth-shattering. Nothing there should be surprising. I think I talked about it Wednesday night. If you watched the Pulse on Wednesday, I pretty much said what I'm about to say again. The military is there for one thing: to kill the enemy. Every job in the military is geared towards that goal. In some way, shape, or form, every job is working towards killing the enemy, directly or indirectly. You may be infantry, or you may be spec war, you may be, artillery, directly responsible for killing the enemy, as many as they can. You may be a cook, you could be a mechanic, or what else, or something else. That is indirectly working towards killing the enemy. You are helping keep the machines running that kill the enemy. You were feeding the warriors. that go out and fight and kill the enemy. You're treating those warriors. You're keeping records of what's going on to help those people go out and kill the enemy. There's no job in the military that in some way, shape, or form is not directly or indirectly associated with killing the enemy. So when he's talking about, there needs to be physical requirements, I completely agree. When I was in boot camp, there, everybody had to do the same things. It was a mile, I think in under 5 minutes, 30 push-ups, 30 sit-ups, and you had to swim and tread water. Everybody had to do it. My boot camp was all guys. It wasn't co-ed, so I couldn't tell you if at that point there was different requirements for women. I don't know. I can just speak for what I know, and everybody had to do the same thing. And that's how it should be in the military. You shouldn't get a break because, like I said, just because, Janie's a girl and Johnny's a guy, they both had the same job, doesn't mean things are different with that same job because Janie's a girl. What needs to be done needs to be done. Doesn't change, doesn't get less difficult. Nothing is different for the female doing job A as it is for the guy doing job A. Same thing is required. So why are the physical requirements the same? I think it should be. And if that means there are certain jobs in the military that a woman can no longer do, I'm sorry, it's not personal. There are women who could pass those requirements and they could very well and most likely will be in those positions. There are some women that won't be able to pass those requirements. So be it. It's not personal. It's how things are. We're not talking about high school football or a cheerleading squad or cross country. We're talking about people whose job it is to train, prepare, and go kill enemies when required. It's that simple. Like not everybody will be in the NFL. Not everybody will be able to be in the military. It's not a bad thing. It's not a knock on anyone. He also said in some of the other video that I didn't show, DEI is done. They're not doing that anymore. That's great. Everything in the military should be merit-based. That's it. There should be no other measurement used for promotions or what have you other than merit. That's it. There's not going to be like sensitivity training where you're going to learn about proper pronoun usage and, all that. No. That is not the time and place for that. The military is here to protect democracy, not practice it. That's what I was told when I was in. We're here to protect it, not practice it. And that's the truth. No more dudes in dresses. I agree with that. None of this is personal. Like you said, this is all geared towards making sure our military is combat ready at all times. And that's how it should be. Of course, when you read the news, or the newspaper and social media, there are people out there, this journal quit because of that, or this guy said that's ridiculous. Nobody cares, dude. Nobody cares. You quit. I think Trump or heck, Seth even said, if you don't agree with this, you can leave. You can resign. That's fine. Because they both know they're not going to make everybody happy. You can't make everybody happy. Especially like I said, what he said for years, inept leadership has brought us to this point, and he's going to change it. The inept leaders aren't going to want to hear that. The fat bodies aren't going to want to hear that. So they're going to be upset and complain and cry, and they're going to leave. That's fine. Like I said, the military isn't for everybody. That's why it's volunteer. You don't have to join, you volunteer. So yeah, I agree with everything he said. There's nothing wrong with what he said. Of course, like I said, you're going to find people that'll bitch and moan and cry about it. And then they're going to question, well, how is he in charge as Secretary of Defense? That's ridiculous. What has he done to earn that? What has he done? Here, let me tell you what he's done. He served as an Army National Guard officer from 2002 to 2021 with combat deployments. Combat. He was in combat, led men into combat in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's a good enough requirement for me to lead the military, that you've been in the military and you've been in combat and you've led men. Sounds like a pretty good reason to have him as Secretary of Defense to me. I'd rather have him than some college boy that's never done anything except seeing combat in a frat house when he drank too much beer and got sick. This is what I want. The only thing that would be better would be like a Marine who was born a Marine and from age 2 to age 30 was in the Marine Corps infantry and has been in every engagement in the entire world and led men everywhere. That would be the only thing that would be better to me. But I'll take an Army guy. He's seen combat. He's been in the shit. What more do you want? And he's a college graduate. So much more do you want? What else does he have to do to make some of you happy that he's in charge of the military? What else? Someone tell me what else you're looking for. Because I can't think of anything. Really, I can't. But like I said, you're not going to make everybody happy all the time. There's going to be people out there who are upset and ticked off that he's in charge. And I call those people morons. He's a good guy. He cares about the military. I don't understand the problem. And he's got the experience, like literal experienced combat. I don't get it anymore. I've stopped trying to understand people because you never will. You never will understand them. It'll never make sense to you. So now we're at the last segment of the show where it's kind of just a grab bag where I talk about different things that have come up and I want to discuss. I put this first because this is incredible. It'll never pass. And I talked about it earlier. It'll never pass. Republican lawmakers are pushing for a constitutional amendment to dock lawmakers' pay during government shutdowns. We all should back that up. 110% we should be behind that. It's not going to pass. And I'm sure he knows it's not going to pass. I'm sure they're doing it just for looks. But I don't care. They brought it up and they're trying to make an amendment. That's awesome. And to make an amendment ain't easy. I think you need 32 states to agree to it, and it's got to go to different things in a vote. It's very hard to make an amendment. But at least they're saying, hey, let's do this. And I agree 100%. They should lose as much pay as everybody else. This is, I'm kind of iffy on this. Trump has approved sharing targeting data with Ukrainians as we weigh sending them bigger and more powerful weapons. I don't, number one, I don't think we should be in Ukraine at all. Should never have been there in the first place. And I think we should have got out when we could have. But now we're deciding whether or not to send them bigger weapons and then target info for major cities in Russia. That is not going to lead to anything good. Nothing good can come of that. And it's not that I like Russia. It's like I like our country. And I don't want us to get pulled into some BS because of this. And that's exactly what will happen. We're going to get pulled into stuff because of this crap. It's not going to end well. We need to get out. We need to stay the hell out of it and let things happen as they may happen. And we all know that if we weren't involved, this war would have ended in a month and the Ukraine would be done. And another thing, people say, well, we had to help Ukraine win because of Russia. Russia, after this is done, they are so financially depleted from this war. They have to buy ammo now from North Korea because they don't have enough of their own. They are not going to be able to do anything like this again for decades. They are going to be done. So that's not even a valid argument. This always makes me not laugh, but kind of chuckle because everybody's so worried about worried about Israel and what they're doing. And right down the street in Nigeria, 7,000 Christians have been killed in the first 220 days of this year, and not a peep. Greta Thunberg is not trying to sail down there. UN is not talking about sanctions and calling for a famine or anything like that. It's all about the Jews and what they're doing. And you got Christians dying wholesale in Nigeria. And who's killing them? Muslims. Muslims are killing them. And that's probably why you're not hearing about it, or it's not that big of a news to them. Because if you can't blame a Jew, it's not news. So that's horrible, and that needs to end. That's more important than what's going on in Gaza. These Christians aren't terrorists. Israel's trying to kill terrorists. These Muslims are just killing Christians because they're Christian. They won't renounce their religion. But I guess that's not as important as Hamas. I guess we got to worry about Hamas and not these poor people down in Nigeria getting killed. 7,000 Christians in the first 220 days. That's just horrible. I don't know if you heard about this in the UK. Another anti-Semitic piece of trash. 2 people were killed and others injured in a ramming and stabbing attack outside a synagogue in the British city of Manchester. in what officials believe was a targeted incident on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. The suspect rammed the car into a group of people outside the temple just after 9:30 a.m. local time before getting out and stabbing a member of the public, according to the Greater Manchester Mayor, Andy Burnham. Armed officers arrived at the Heaton Park Synagogue, roughly 3 miles north of the city center, quickly and shot a man believed to be the attacker. Greater Manchester Police said. Police said they believed the suspect was dead, but couldn't confirm until bomb disposal teams had carried out an investigation. The other members of the public who had been seriously left in serious condition and brought to hospitals. I've read since then that Israel says Hamas was behind this. Wouldn't surprise me. All these anti-Semitic podcasters and people out there running their mouth talking about Jews this and Jews this are fueling this. They are to blame. The blood is on their hands. And those people who support those podcasters and talking heads, you're to blame too. You can try to act like you're not. You cheer them on. You give them viewership and thumbs up and make them go viral. You're to blame too. The blood of these people is on your hands. Every time a Jew is hurt now, the blood is on your hands. And if that makes you happy, makes you laugh, I don't care, because we all got to answer for what we do at one point or another. We all got to stand tall in front of the man and explain why we did what we did, and I would hate to be in your shoes. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's Yom Kippur. For all those who don't know what Yom Kippur is, I wrote it down because I'm not a very good Jew, and I wanted to make sure I got it right. Let me find it. I have notes somewhere in here. It's the highest holiday in the Jewish religion. It's the holiest of days. Yom Kippur, meaning the Day of Atonement, is the holiest day in Judaism, observed as a day of intense fasting, prayer, and reflection to seek forgiveness for sins committed in the past year. It marks the conclusion of the 10-day high holidays or days of awe. It involves acts of repentance, reconciliation with others, and a spiritual focus on renewing one's soul and starting anew. So that's what today is, and that's what kept Alexandra from coming here today, and her birthday, her 22nd birthday, of course, don't forget that. So that's why she's not here. So I wish her and everybody else that's celebrating Yom Kippur a very happy Yom Kippur. And I hope you have a great New Year. Oh, man. Ta-da. Tim Fazenbaker, great guy. He's running for county council in District 9 in Baltimore County. I can't say enough good things about this guy. Very approachable, very knowledgeable, very friendly, and very down to earth. Everything you want in a leader. He will listen to you and speak with you. If you live in that district, give him a call, or not give him a call, vote for him. You can scan this QRC code. I think that brings you to his website. Donate some money, donate your time, give him a hand. He is definitely worth your time. I wouldn't say that if he wasn't. He's a really good guy. This is Constant Dietzel, and I probably messed up her name, and I apologize. She's in an assembly in District 5 in New Jersey. Again, Alexandra's working with her as a consultant. That's why she's here. So again, give her a hand, scan the code, go to her website, find out what she's about. And if you live in that district, help her. And if you don't, you can still donate some money, because running a campaign ain't cheap. So even if you're not in their district, they are conservative. You should help them any way you can. It's really that important. It's worth it. 1 second. Here we go. So yeah, do what you can do to help. This is for me. Yeah. There you go. Scan the code, find out about it. I don't like talking about me, so we're not standing there long. It's about that time. So I want to thank Alexandra for having me come back again and help with her show. I hope she's having a great 22nd birthday and enjoying time with her family for Yom Kippur. Thanks everybody who hung out with me. I know I was kind of off-putting when you expected to see her gorgeous self and you're stuck with the mountain man. I apologize. Before I go, I don't know if you watch my conservative corner, I give an opinion on something at the end of every show. So I'm going to do that here before we go. And it's about Yom Kippur. Excuse me. Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, is Judaism's holiest day, a 25-hour journey of introspection, repentance, and spiritual cleansing that resonates deeply in 2025, a year scarred by division and strife. Observed on the 10th day of Tishrei, I'm going to butcher the Hebrew, so I apologize. Falling this year on October 1, 2, and Yom Kippur is not just a ritual, but a profound communal embrace of humanity's capacity for growth and forgiveness. It's a day when Jews worldwide pause, reflect, and recommit to living with purpose, making it a beacon of hope in a world desperate for both. At its core, Yom Kippur is about returning to Shiva, again, I'm sorry I'm butchering it, to one's best self. From sundown to sundown, Jews fast, abstaining from food, drink, and worldly pleasures, stripping life to its essentials to focus on the soul. Synagogues hum with the haunting melody of Kol Nidre, a prayer that releases unfulfilled vows, setting the tone for a day of accountability. The liturgy, rich with confession, like the Vidui, again, I'm sorry, my father would beat me up, isn't about self-flagellation, but honest recognition, acknowledging wrongs to God, to others, and to oneself. In 2025, with anti-Semitism surging 337% since October 2023, per ADL reports, this act of collective humility feels like a defiant stand for resilience and moral clarity. What makes Yom Kippur radiant is its universal call to repair. It's not enough to say sorry. The day demands action, seeking forgiveness from those we've wronged before approaching the divine. This year, as families gather at pre-fast meals, breaking bread over chicken soup and challah, or end with bagels and lox, the ritual binds communities across generations. In Israel, streets fall silent. No cars, no commerce, just bicycles and prayer shawls. A nation unified in reflection. Globally, from New York's packed shuls to small Zoom minions, Jews connect through shared purpose, proving that even in a fractured world, unity is possible. The joy of Yom Kippur lies in the promise of renewal. The service as the gates of heavens close in a crescendo of hope, with congregants standing, hearts open, chanting for mercy and peace. The shofar's final blast signals not just the fast's end, but a fresh start, a slate wiped clean, a chance to do better. In 2025, amidst global tensions, this message sings, we are not doomed to repeat our mistakes. Yom Kippur reminds us that atonement is active, a choice to mend what's broken, whether personal relationships or a world reeling from hate. This year, as candles flicker and prayers rise, Yom Kippur's light pierces the darkness. It's a day to celebrate the courage to confront our flaws, the strength to seek forgiveness, and the faith that redemption is within reach. For Jews and non-Jews alike, it's an invitation to pause, reflect, and rebuild, a gift of grace in a time that sorely needs it. May we all be sealed in the book of life, ready to write a better story for 5786. And I'm going to butcher this, and I apologize, Dad. Gamar Shatama Tova. So again, if you're celebrating Yom Kippur tonight, have a great Yom Kippur. Happy birthday, Alexandra. And I will be on Sunday at 7 on the Conservative Corner, same bat channel, different bat time. Again, thank you very much, everybody. Everybody have a good evening and have a great Friday and a good weekend.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.